Ever wondered why the sweetest, kindest men often end up alone while someone hot and confident gets all the attention, even if he's a little toxic? It's not just bad luck. There's a psychology at play, a magnetic pull that's hard to resist. Today, we're diving into why hot women sometimes find themselves drawn to narcissists, while nice guys seem invisible. When it comes to attraction, there's this invisible line that most people don't talk about, a line between what draws someone in instantly and what keeps them around in the long run. The initial spark, the kind that makes your heart skip, the kind that makes you think about someone constantly, is rarely about kindness or consistency. It's about energy, about intensity, about the way someone carries themselves in the world. A narcissist, for example, seems to have it all: confidence that borders on arrogance, charm that feels effortless, and a sense of mystery that keeps people guessing. They walk into a room and suddenly all eyes are on them, not because they are necessarily better or more deserving, but because their presence demands attention. That initial attraction is electric, it's visceral, almost primal, and it often overshadows any quieter, gentler qualities someone might have. The nice guy, on the other hand, shows his worth slowly. He's steady, reliable, patient. He listens when you talk, remembers the little things, shows empathy without being asked. And yet, in the chaotic swirl of desire, these qualities can seem invisible, almost unremarkable. A strange paradox. People are drawn to what makes them feel alive in the moment, and excitement almost always wins over predictability at first glance. But attraction is only one half of the story. Long-term stability is something entirely different, something that reveals itself gradually through consistency, honesty, and emotional reliability. A nice guy may not give you the adrenaline rush or the heart-fluttering unpredictability of a narcissist, but he shows up when it counts. He doesn't disappear for days without explanation. He doesn't make your happiness feel conditional. Stability isn't glamorous. It's quiet, almost invisible compared to the fireworks of drama. But over time, it becomes the foundation of trust, the kind that allows a relationship to grow without the constant fear of emotional upheaval. A narcissist, for all their magnetism, often cannot provide this. Their charm fades when the unpredictability turns into neglect, when the thrill of the chase turns into manipulation, when the intensity that once made your pulse race starts to feel exhausting, even draining. The very traits that make them irresistible at first glance, confidence, dominance, charisma, can later become barriers to genuine intimacy, leaving those who were drawn to them feeling empty despite the initial high. It's easy to forget this in the early stages of attraction. Human brains are wired to respond to stimulus, to novelty, to the kind of energy that jolts us out of routine. A smile that's just a little too confident, a laugh that's just a little too charming, a touch that feels electric. These things create an emotional hook before you even realize it. Meanwhile, the nice guy builds connection differently through patience, shared moments, quiet support, and the subtle understanding that he won't run at the first sign of discomfort. It's slower, less immediately satisfying, and yet, for someone looking for a lasting connection, these are the traits that truly matter. But in a world that often glorifies charisma over character, it's easy to mistake excitement for worth, intensity for love, and initial attraction for compatibility. There's something intoxicating about excitement and drama in a relationship, something that feels almost like an addiction. When a narcissist enters the scene, life suddenly becomes unpredictable, thrilling, and emotionally intense. One moment they are warm, charming, and attentive, making you feel like the center of their universe. The next, they are distant, cold, or seemingly indifferent, leaving you scrambling to understand what went wrong. That push and pull creates a kind of emotional high that is impossible to ignore. Your heart races in ways that stability and consistency cannot replicate. It's a roller coaster that keeps you coming back for more, even when your mind tells you it's exhausting, even when you recognize the toxicity. Drama triggers a deep, visceral reaction. It creates an illusion of passion and urgency, a feeling that life is happening in vivid colors rather than shades of gray. And when someone hot, confident, and magnetic plays this game, the effect is magnified, making it feel like being in their orbit is both dangerous and irresistible. The thrill of drama is not just about chaos, it's about intensity, about feeling seen in moments of emotional extremes. A narcissist understands this instinctively. They know how to provoke, to tease, to withdraw just enough to make you chase, to invest emotionally in a way that feels consuming. And for someone drawn to intensity, it feels like love, like connection, like the kind of chemistry you read about in novels or watch unfold on screens. Meanwhile, the nice guy, steady and kind, offers a different kind of energy: predictable, reliable, safe. He doesn't keep you guessing. He doesn't withdraw for attention or play with your emotions. While this kind of consistency is what actually builds trust and intimacy over time, it can feel underwhelming when compared to the intoxicating highs and lows of a narcissist's presence. Emotional intensity, after all, tricks the mind into equating chaos with passion, confusion with depth, and unpredictability with a kind of magnetic allure that is hard to resist. Drama, however, is not sustainable, and yet it is addictive in its fleeting moments. Each argument, each withdrawal, each sudden display of charm creates a cycle, an emotional push and pull that heightens desire even while it chips away at emotional stability. The excitement of not knowing where you stand, of wondering if today will be love or distance, creates a chemical reaction in the brain similar to thrill-seeking behaviors. That uncertainty, the highs of approval and the lows of perceived rejection, produces a dopamine-driven attachment that can be intensely compelling. People who are drawn to narcissists often mistake these emotional highs for true intimacy. They feel alive, desired, and noticed in ways that a consistent, gentle presence cannot replicate. Even the physical attraction is amplified by drama. When emotions are heightened, so are sensations. A touch feels more electric, a smile more genuine, and moments of closeness feel like lifelines. Drama creates a false sense of intensity, convincing someone that this roller coaster is love, when in reality, it's a performance that feeds on emotional vulnerability. Over time, the addictive nature of these highs makes leaving incredibly difficult, even when the lows become unbearable, because the memory of exhilaration lingers and pulls people back into patterns of chaos and desire. There's an invisible force at work when it comes to attraction, one that often goes unnoticed until you experience it yourself: perceived value and status. It's not necessarily about wealth, power, or achievements, though those can play a role. It's about the way someone carries themselves, the confidence they project, and the aura of importance they naturally exude. Narcissists are masters at this. They know how to present themselves as highly desirable, charismatic, and in demand. It's not just about who they are, but about how they make others feel in their presence. When someone exudes status, attention follows, and attention creates desire. People are naturally drawn to those who seem valued by the world, even if that value is more image than substance. For hot women, this perceived status can feel magnetic because it taps into both social instincts and personal fantasies, creating a sense that being with this person elevates their own life, their own sense of self-worth, almost effortlessly. Perceived value operates on multiple levels. There's the external aspect, the way a person looks, dresses, speaks, or moves through social spaces. Narcissists are usually acutely aware of these elements and use them to create an impression of perfection and desirability. But there's also the internal aspect. Confidence, self assuredness, and an unshakable belief in their own importance. These traits send signals that subconsciously attract people, making them feel drawn to someone who appears untouchable, ambitious, or destined for greatness. It's intoxicating because it creates a story in the mind of the observer. If I'm with them, I'm part of something bigger. I'm special. I've been chosen. Even when the actions behind the facade are shallow or self serving, the perception alone can be enough to spark obsession. The narcissist thrives on this, intentionally curating how they are seen, creating scarcity in attention, and elevating themselves in ways that make others chase them as though they are prizes to be won. This is where the nice guy often falls short. He may possess genuine qualities that make him a loyal partner, empathy, kindness, honesty, but these are subtler traits. They don't scream for attention, don't dazzle the eyes, and don't immediately create a sense of intrigue. Society often equates visibility with worth, charisma with success, and intensity with desirability. In contrast, the steady presence of a nice guy is often overlooked because it doesn't create that instant impact. His value is real and lasting, but it's quiet. It doesn't come with fireworks or social validation. While the narcissist's perceived status draws attention and creates an illusion of superiority, the nice guy works silently, building trust and consistency that take time to recognize and appreciate. The danger of perceived value is that it can blind people to substance. A woman may be drawn to the image of success, charm, or power without fully seeing the inconsistencies, selfishness, or emotional manipulation underneath. The allure of status can make even flawed behavior feel acceptable, even desirable, because the narrative has been crafted so carefully that it overshadows reality. What seems glamorous in the short term can create cycles of longing and disappointment because attraction rooted in perception rarely withstands scrutiny when faced with the slow, steady truths of everyday life. There's something deeply compelling about the idea of a challenge, about the thrill of pursuit. It taps into our primal instincts, the same instincts that have driven humans to seek, to conquer, and to desire what feels just out of reach. In the realm of attraction, narcissists understand this instinct better than anyone. They rarely make themselves fully available, rarely give the kind of unconditional attention that a nice, steady partner might offer. Instead, they create a sense of scarcity, of elusiveness, making others feel like winning their attention is a prize. For hot women drawn to this energy, the chase becomes intoxicating. Every small gesture, every rare moment of connection is magnified, turning ordinary interactions into emotional highs. The uncertainty, the need to prove oneself, and the perception of being special for capturing someone's attention creates a magnetic pull that feels addictive and exhilarating. The dynamic of challenge and pursuit isn't just psychological, it's almost a game of power and validation. Narcissists excel at creating conditions where they are admired, pursued, and desired, while maintaining a certain distance that keeps others striving. Each compliment is measured, each display of affection calculated, and every withdrawal or slight rejection becomes fuel for the chase. When a woman invests energy into winning over someone who appears unattainable, her emotional involvement deepens, and she begins to associate the highs of attention with her own value and desirability. This push and pull can become a cycle where the challenge itself is more compelling than the person's actual qualities. The pursuit creates tension, excitement, and anticipation, emotions that are often mistaken for passion or true connection. Meanwhile, the nice guy, who is honest, caring, and consistent, rarely inspires the same intensity. He is present, available, and emotionally stable, which paradoxically can make him seem less interesting at first glance. There is no chase because there is no perceived obstacle to overcome. The nice guy doesn't withhold affection or attention to create desire. He simply gives it freely, creating safety and reliability rather than suspense. While these traits form the bedrock of a strong and lasting relationship, they often fail to trigger the immediate rush of adrenaline or the illusion of conquest that the pursuit of a narcissist provides. The irony is cruel. The qualities that make someone the best long term partner are frequently invisible during the early stages of attraction, overshadowed by the excitement of the challenge. The psychology behind challenge and pursuit is deeply rooted in human behavior. People are wired to respond to scarcity and uncertainty, to value what seems difficult to obtain more than what is freely given. In the context of relationships, this can create a dangerous imbalance. When attention and affection are rare, they feel precious, and the person who gives them selectively gains a disproportionate amount of influence over emotions and desires. The thrill of winning someone over, of being the one who cracks through their walls or earns their attention, can feel like proof of worth and desirability. This is why narcissists often become objects of fascination and why women can find themselves emotionally entangled in pursuit-driven dynamics, even when the relationship lacks true depth, empathy, or stability. Emotional manipulation is a quiet, subtle force that often goes unnoticed until it has already taken root. Narcissists are masters at this, not because they are overtly cruel all the time, but because they understand how to exploit vulnerabilities in ways that feel intimate and irresistible. It often starts gently, a compliment here, a display of attention there, designed to make the other person feel seen, special, and chosen. At first, it feels flattering, even magical, because the manipulator seems to understand you in ways no one else does. But beneath that charm lies a calculated strategy to create dependence, to make someone emotionally invested in the highs and lows they control. For hot women drawn to this type of attention, it's easy to mistake emotional intensity for genuine affection. Each carefully timed gesture reinforces a connection that feels deep, passionate, and meaningful, even if it is largely orchestrated to serve the narcissist's sense of control. The power of emotional manipulation lies in its subtlety. A narcissist doesn't need to scream or lash out to dominate a relationship. They simply need to sow seeds of doubt, uncertainty, and longing. They withdraw affection at moments of need, test boundaries, or create situations where approval feels earned rather than freely given. This push and pull dynamic conditions the other person to chase validation, to crave approval, and to attach their emotional well being to someone who may be incapable of providing consistent love. Each act of attention becomes a reward, and each moment of withdrawal becomes punishment, creating a cycle that is both addictive and disorienting. Over time, this strategy can erode confidence, distort perception, and make the manipulator appear irreplaceable, even when the relationship is unhealthy or damaging. Meanwhile, the nice guy who is honest, caring, and consistent rarely engages in manipulation. He offers affection freely, expresses love without conditions, and communicates openly about emotions and intentions. Yet, in comparison to the narcissist's strategic highs and lows, these qualities can seem unremarkable, almost invisible. Emotional stability, reliability, and kindness do not trigger the same rush of adrenaline that comes from navigating unpredictable behavior. People often mistake emotional manipulation for intensity or passion, confusing orchestrated drama with genuine connection. The ability of a narcissist to make someone feel special while simultaneously keeping them off balance is a form of control that can seem exciting and intoxicating, even though it ultimately undermines authentic intimacy. What makes emotional manipulation particularly powerful is its ability to create internal conflict. The person being manipulated begins to question their own judgment, to second guess their feelings, and to rationalize behaviors that would otherwise be unacceptable. They become hyper focused on decoding signals, interpreting mixed messages, and proving themselves worthy of love. This mental and emotional preoccupation intensifies attachment, making the relationship feel all consuming. The manipulator thrives in this dynamic, sustaining influence without offering true reciprocity or stability, because every moment of affection is leveraged to deepen dependency. It is a subtle, invisible architecture of control, crafted to feel like choice and passion, even while it slowly reshapes priorities, emotions, and self perception. Confidence is one of those traits that is universally admired, yet easily misunderstood. When someone exudes self assurance, charm, and certainty in their actions, it sends a powerful signal to others. They are capable, desirable, and in control of their lives. Narcissists, in particular, have a way of projecting this confidence so effortlessly that it can feel magnetic, irresistible, and even intoxicating. For hot women drawn to this energy, it is easy to confuse the outward display of confidence with deeper qualities like emotional intelligence, integrity, or passion. The charm, poise, and certainty of a narcissist can create the illusion of depth, masking the underlying self centeredness, lack of empathy, or inconsistency that may exist beneath the surface. In many cases, the very traits that make a person exciting and alluring at first glance are not the traits that sustain a healthy, long term relationship, yet the perception of confidence often outweighs the reality. The misinterpretation of confidence often stems from the way it interacts with attraction. Human psychology is wired to notice strength, dominance, and competence, and when these traits are presented with charisma, they become magnified. A narcissist can walk into a room and command attention without trying, make bold statements, take risks, or exude a sense of invulnerability that others find compelling. This external projection is often mistaken for emotional depth, genuine passion, or compatibility. Meanwhile, the nice guy who may possess quiet confidence rooted in humility, intelligence, or empathy can be overlooked precisely because his presence is calm, grounded, and unassuming. The nice guy's confidence does not demand attention. It exists in the background, stable and reliable, but lacking the theatrical flair that makes narcissistic confidence feel urgent and irresistible. The difference lies in perception versus substance, and this is where misinterpretation takes hold. Confidence is also deeply tied to the human desire for security and admiration. When someone appears self assured, it signals competence and control over their life, which can create a sense of stability, even if that stability is superficial. Narcissists exploit this, presenting themselves as untouchable or capable while carefully curating their image to appear flawless. This projection creates a sense of admiration, making others believe that they are special for being noticed or acknowledged by someone so seemingly powerful. The admiration that arises from perceived confidence can evolve into obsession, attachment, or the illusion of intimacy, even when the narcissist's intentions are self serving or shallow. In this way, confidence becomes a tool, not a trait, and those who misinterpret it often find themselves drawn into dynamics where they feel challenged, validated, or emotionally dependent. The danger lies in confusing confidence with authenticity. Genuine confidence is grounded in self awareness, respect for others, and consistency in words and actions, while narcissistic confidence is performative, designed to elicit desire, admiration, and compliance. The misinterpretation of the latter can lead people to invest emotionally in someone who is exciting but unreliable, magnetic but ultimately hollow. It is an illusion that plays on desire, admiration, and the human tendency to equate boldness with passion, making it easy to overlook the subtle but critical differences between surface level charisma and the deeper qualities that sustain love and connection. At the end of the day, it all comes down to understanding the difference between temporary excitement and lasting connection. Narcissists can be magnetic, thrilling, and intoxicating, but the pull they create is often built on illusion, drama, and manipulation. The chase, the intensity, the surface level confidence, it can make someone feel alive in the moment, but it rarely provides the warmth, trust, and stability that sustain a relationship over time. Meanwhile, the nice guy, the one who listens, cares, and shows up consistently, offers something far deeper: reliability, emotional safety, and a love that grows rather than fluctuates. Recognizing these patterns is not about blaming ourselves for being drawn to excitement or passion. It's about awareness, seeing through charm, understanding emotional triggers, and valuing qualities that matter in the long run. Real love doesn't thrive on games, chaos, or illusions of grandeur. It thrives on respect, empathy, and genuine connection. And while the magnetic pull of narcissists may feel irresistible at first, the people who last in our hearts are those who make us feel safe, seen, and cherished every single day, not just in moments of exhilaration. Understanding why we are drawn to certain types of people is the first step toward making choices that honor our hearts and our worth. Because at the end of every story, the love that truly fulfills us is not the one that sets our hearts racing for a moment. It's the one that steadies them for a lifetime.